challenge solution video. Today I'm going to be going over the text solution. And so in this one, you're given a company's employee information. And so this company is called Smart Home, and they sell things like doorbells, smart doorbells, and cameras. And so right here, you're going to be given the employee code, and the employee code has the location as the first three, then it has the employee ID as the next 4 digits right here, and then it has the branch ID and then the pay period. And so when you first get the sheet, when you first open it up, location, employee ID, branch ID, pay period, and Japanese branch location will all be blank. And so your first task in this challenge is to fill out and find each employee's location. And so this is done by, you can use any one of the text manipulation functions. In this one, I decided to use left. And so what you're going to do is you're going to put equal left, and then what it asks for is you click the text that you want to use, and you click the number of digits, the number of characters starting from the left. So JAP, J-A-P, and that's where I wanted to stop, so that's three characters, and then I close, hit enter, and it is JAP. And then you can just pull it down for all the way down to the bottom and copy the same code, and it'll adjust for each one. And then in employee ID, I decided to use mid. And so how mid works is similar to left, is you're going to open, you're going to put equal to mid, you're going to click the text, then you're going to click the starting one, which is, we're going to start on the fourth character, which is 1, and then we want 4 more characters because the employee ID is 4 characters long. Click enter, and it will be 1080 is their employee ID. And then for branch ID, it's a little bit similar. We're just going to count off how many characters there are. So J1, A2, P3, 1, 4, 0, 5, and then so on. And you'll find out that this 19, the 1 is on the 9th character. So our starting place will be 9. And then we just want 2 characters, so the 1 and the 9. And so that returns 19, and you can pull it down. And then for the last one, in order to find the pay period, we're just going to use M. We're just going to find M. And so we're just going to go right, and then we're just going to take the last character, which is M. And then in this one, we're going to use a function called concatenate, which basically adds two words together, basically to create a new word. And so in this one, we're going to add a D4, which is location, and F4, which is branch ID, together to create the location branch ID. And we're going to separate them by a dash. So you'll see right here, we have parentheses for a dash, and then we go to F4, which is 19. And that equals Jap 19, Australia 21. And in the next one, we're going to be using XLOOKUP. And you can use VLOOKUP too for these. So in this, you'll be given employees' names. So the first one is Moy. And so our job is to find the last name, where she's located, and the employee ID. And so this is done by, I'm going to go XLOOKUP. We're going to look up we're going to first pick the value we want to look up. So we want to look up Moi. So we're going to click on Moi. Then we're going to put another comma. Then we're going to click the lookup array. So the lookup array is employee data. So in the second tab. And we're going to look for her name in this B column from B4 to B600. And then we're going to, this is our output, what we want to show the return array. So once we find, what this function does is once it finds Moi, let's see, where is she? Once we find her, basically it finds her name and then it goes across and it will pull her last name, and so it puts the last name right there. And then the same thing is for XLOOKUP right here. You're gonna click on Moi, and then you're gonna, instead of returning the last name column, what it does it returns the other, it returns the location instead. So what this solution does, what XLOOKUP is doing, is it's going in, it's entering this first name, it's finding that row, and it's pulling out key points of it. So in this one, it's pulling out the last name on the same row as Moi and her location, and eventually her employee ID. And this is the same for each one. So Billy, we're gonna look up Billy. Then we're gonna look into the employee data to find his name, and we're gonna pull over each one. Then in the next one we have XLOOKUP. So XLOOKUP, we're gonna try and find the person with the highest sales. And how we're gonna do that is first we're gonna find the max employee, the biggest number of sales generated. So we're just gonna run a max function. Basically what the max function does is it finds the biggest number in a set of numbers. So firstly it's gonna pull up it's gonna find the biggest number, and that whatever the biggest number is gonna be basically our lookup function. Once we find the biggest number, we're gonna look for that number and pull down the person's name. For example, let's see if we can find it. 1008. So basically it's gonna go through each one of these. It's gonna find the number. Say this is the highest, Andrea Murphy. Right there, it's gonna go across and it's gonna pull across this name. B is gonna pull Andrea, and then Andrea will be the return value, and so we'll return Andrea instead. This is just purely hypothetical, but that's how it works. So once we find Carl, we no longer need the max function anymore. So we can just base it all off Carl. So it'll be first to find Carl within the employee data in the first name. Once you find that, you can then find his last name and so on. And then all you need to do after that is just change this last return array. And the return array just means you just shift the column. So you shift the return to location, you shift the return to employee ID. And that is it for the TechHub solution for the text manipulation. Hope you have a wonderful day, and be sure to share your solutions in the chat.